EA Sports. It's in the game. Wow, he just took off on that one, and he might have just won the game for him.
I'm alive in the dark, and I keep getting stronger. My limit's the sky. I do the impossible, impossible. Shine if I want to. I win every time if I want to. The world mine if I want to. Make the world mine cause I want to. I'll pull the sword out the border, walk a floor full of cobras. Go to war with you all, we can brawl toe to toe. I can tighten loops in my lace and make lightning lose in a race. I make fire cool and come back from the triangle in Bermuda. I can suit up, live in the moon up, working and outsmarting computers. I can outswim all the tuna, and that's without a scuba. So in the laws of nature, I'm breaking the rules. Only thing I'm bad at is being a loser. I can make time traveling a surprise. Make graveyards feel alive. Break the immortal down to his demise. Look up and beam to the stars so you can turn off the lights. I come alive in the dark, and I keep getting stronger. Tonight I hunt with the pride. You can't take my pride away. I can sing with the birds and the trees in the morning, or roll like the storms way over the ocean.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay, and we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. And they're going to mark that where it went out of bounds. So really good starting field position up past the 40-yard line. Wishing he had a mulligan. That's not how you want to start the game.
Not at all, because not only do you give up the penalty and good field position, but it just kills the momentum of your team as you start a game.
So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps. one of the first to film practice because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
So now then, the big play has him all the way inside the 30 now, 1st and 10. Running right, here's Sanders. And he'll be out of bounds just inside the 25-yard line. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
In need of a conversion on 3rd down. They had the big play to start the drive. Not much sense. From the shotgun, it's Favre. And he's going to be brought down at about the 16. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brockman, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brockman coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it was there during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
On 2nd down, Favre. That's to the right side, complete to Kittle. Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Once the Raiders won the AFL title in 1968, and that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
Anderson's kick is good, and the NFC out to an early 3-0 lead. And they have a great field position to start that opening drive. They'll only get 3 out of it, but still they get 3, so maybe kind of a win for the offense, Charles, and kind of a win for the defense as well.
Yeah, I'd say win-win seems to sum the whole thing up because where that ball was placed to start, that's tough on a defense, and they held them to 3. Now, if you're the offense, you're thinking to yourselves, how do we open up the playbook later on in this game and turn this 3 into 6s down the stretch?
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the NFC sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, let's call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who is trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and about to do it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. He was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first teams to film practice because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
The AFC with the football here to begin the second quarter, as they've got it 2nd and 7. Now Brady. Rush coming, and he's taken down. Give the sack to Lawrence Taylor. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression, commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrunk, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
Here's Ray Guy now, and no room for error here as his first punt comes from deep in his own end zone. And from their own end zone, it's a fake. Oh, but he'll be stopped well short of the first down marker, and it's a turnover on downs. A little trickeration there, but it doesn't fool him. And now, boy, the ball's going to go over on downs here inside the 10-yard line. You see the AFC defense heading back out there. And last time out, they gave up the chip shot field goal, but obviously could have been worse than that. I think they felt pretty good about only giving up 3.
No doubt about it. Anytime an offense gets into the red zone, the thinking naturally for the defense is, okay, 3 points. We're going to give up 3 here, but let's make it no more than that. They met their goal.
On the other side, though, the offense, they weren't very happy.
No, because there's an opportunity. Once you get to the red zone, you're not thinking about kicking a field goal. You're thinking about how do you get it into the end zone, and when you don't, you walk off the field feeling a little bit of failure on that drive.
Yeah, who will have the better feeling at the end of this drive? Oh, it's a screen pass. It's complete. And here he'll get it down to the 7. 3 yards is the gain that time. 2nd and goal.
Nice job by the defense figuring that play out and holding it to a short game, but I don't think the offense is going to be daunted. They actually accomplished their goal there. Now they've got them aware that they can throw a screen at them, maybe to slow the pass rush down a little bit, and they can throw it downfield.
And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. It'll be a loss of a couple on the play, so now 3rd down coming up.
Sometimes you just sit back and marvel at what he can do defensively. Speed, strength, quickness, he's the whole package. And that package just wrapped up the runner for a loss.
2 minutes remain here in the first half of the John Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. Oh, you saw that one coming. It's intercepted. Thrown back across his body. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore. And he'll be brought down at his own 10-yard line. The defense, Charles, they bit a little bit, but they did not break. And then on 3rd and goal there, the huge interception.
Think of the momentum they're carrying with them right now, Brandon, because in their mind, whether they want to admit it or not, they were conceding 3 points. Their goal was to keep them out of the end zone, not give up a touchdown. Instead, they give up nothing. What a big-time play and a big-time stop by them.
The AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out in either the AFL championship game or the AFC championship game. That might be a divisional round exit. That's the one that bothered him most of all. Three Rivers Stadium, December 1972. Yes, the Immaculate Reception game. Franco Harris grabbing the ball that was deflected. Almost at his shoe tops, he picked it up and took it in for a game-winning score to give the Steelers a 13-7 victory. And partner, anyone who loves black and silver still doesn't believe that ball hit anyone in black and silver that day, and that play should never have counted.
They stay on the ground with Allen, and able to get a little more breathing room out to the 5-yard line. Now the NFC going to take a timeout, their second, as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. Here's Ray Guy now, as his first punt will come from inside his own end zone. And from their own end zone, it's a fake, and they're going to get to him. That is going to be a safety. Tom Brady taken down to the end zone.
Normally, when we think about big swings and scores before a half, we think offense, but this time, their defense made the play. Instant pressure off the snap, and they weren't going to let him find a way to escape.
After the safety, remember, they also need to give up the football, and here's the free kick.
Free kick out of bounds.
No, they accept the penalty, of course, and push the offense backwards a bit.
Automatic first down.
So good starting field position for him here as they come up 1st and 10 right at the 50-yard line. From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. He'll get this complete to Cooper Kupp. And he goes down, but not before getting this inside the 25. That'll be marked as a 27-yard pickup.
But one of the ways that quarterbacks keep all the receivers alive in a play, never lock in on any one guy. Make sure you keep your eyes moving, scan the field. And here he finds the open guy for a nice pickup.
Could we get a touchdown in this first half after all? It's 1st and 10. Now Favre. And on the catch right side, this is Sanders. And able to break one tackle, but then quickly brought down. But a nice little gain. So the completion results there in 9 yards. And they'll have a 2nd and 1 forthcoming. Now the NFC going to use their 3rd and final timeout as they stop it with 16 seconds to go in half number 1. Here's 2nd and a yard. Throwing is far. Touchdown! Randy Moss as the first half is winding down. And they're able to add on to their advantage.
And that's certainly an important score right there because they gave themselves a 2-score cushion heading towards halftime. Now you got to force the other team out of their comfort zone, and it changes the way you approach the second half as well. How you want to do things on offense, and your defense feels much better too, having that lead.
Morton Anderson now for the extra point. And this one gives his guys a 12-point lead. The drive there only spanning 3 plays. And it's finished off by an NFC touchdown. So not much time to speak of remaining in this first half as the kick's away. This will be fielded inside the 5. And he won't get this to the 20-yard line as he's down at the 19. The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez.
Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducted coach in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. Now the second half forthcoming from Oakland. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Charles, it'll be interesting to see what adjustments this offense made in the locker room. Haven't really been able to get anything going offensively, virtually nothing in the ground attack either. So certainly something has to change here in quarter 3.
And I'm pretty sure their friends from the defensive side of the ball told them exactly that, because those guys, the stop troops, they've been playing pretty well. They've kept them around in this game. They got some talent. The game's stronger than since the opposition doesn't have a lot of defending to pass here. They've got to re-energize that ground game and maybe open things up for a comeback here in this half.
So after the run for no gain, here's 2nd and 10. Throwing now is Brady. And on the left sideline, he caught it, but out of bounds, according to the head linesman. Incomplete, so the ball a little late getting there, and it's 3rd down. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers, and did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
On 1st down, Brady. Got his man complete over the middle. It's Reed. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went out and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
He's got a man. Andre Reed complete. And he's going to be taken down right at the 40-yard line. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when you use words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He's a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for. It's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told him, call me when it's 11-on-11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. Brady's His throw on third down there is incomplete.
Give him credit for excellent coverage, tight coverage. They're doing a lot of things that we talk about in basketball. They're causing disruptions in the passing game. And as long as that continues, it'll be tough for them to gain any momentum throwing the ball downfield.
So now they're going to send out the field goal unit to, as they say, fire away from long distance. They're spotted at the 47, so call it a 57-yard attempt. Oh, they flip it to the kicker. He looks like he's going to throw it. It would have been a long field goal. The fake doesn't work out. And as a result, possession switches hands. Well, that was a long attempt to begin with, so the fake you might have known was somewhat of a possibility. Credit to the defense, though. They weren't fooled.
You're right, they weren't fooled, and they were in a position of having to play it both ways. Guard for the fake, but you still want to rush the kicker because it was a makeable kick. So they ended up getting the best out of the whole thing. Stuffed the fake, and they take over the ball.
They've got good starting field position as they come up here 1st and 10 on their side of midfield at the 47. They start on the ground here at Sanders. Oh, an absolutely filthy juke. He's got some space now. Now he's going to get this all the way down inside the 35. So, CD, you look at the accumulation of John Madden's achievements in the world of football, the coaching success, the Super Bowl title, the incredible career as a broadcaster with 12 Emmy Awards, Madden, the video game. It was very fitting back in 2006 that John Madden got the call to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A more deserving person you will not find. He gave an incredible speech on that day, Brandon. So many of his former Raider players were in attendance. He talked about how he envisioned that when the last person turns off the lights in the hall every night, that the bus talk football amongst themselves. And what a discussion that might be.
Yeah, he finished his speech by saying, "Today feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off on the shoulders of others. Yet instead of off the field, it's into the Hall of Fame. This has been the sweetest ride of them all." Back-to-back good plays have them on the move on 1st down. Here's Favre to throw. And his throw's going to be incomplete. But you think about John Madden in his retirement years post-broadcasting. He was about as active as most people are in their working years. I mean, he continued to play a key role on the NFL's competition committee. He was available to a wide range of people as a tutor, as a mentor. He continued to teach the game of football to all who would listen. And, Charles, as you and I know, he even continued to provide, rifles one, and that's going to be intercepted. And his guys are going to have the football back as the 3rd quarter comes to an end. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden legacy game, it's the NFC stars and young Coach Madden on top. And we'll be back to the Coliseum after this. Back now here on EA Sports. It's the NFC with the lead and the football as well as we start quarter number 4. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. The interception was a great starting point, but now they need points pretty quickly, down 2 scores. And they're going to get this beyond the 40 before it's taken down. A gain of right around 35 yards on a play that started back inside their 10.
Well, that's something you haven't had to talk about much this game. A nice big play right there. But this team, overall, they haven't done a whole lot offensively.
Well, they're still sitting on the goose egg. We talk about defenses having pride in a shutout. This offense wants to get rid of that 0. Just like that, out of danger and up past across the 40 now for 1st and 10. Now Brady. He's got Brown on the out route complete. And he's able to get this one out closer to midfield across the 45. Fourth quarter, every drive so critical, and you figure they only get one more shot after this, so a touchdown's imperative on this drive.
It is, but you also have to think to yourself in play calling, don't hold anything back. Don't save it for the second touchdown. You got the first one for the second one to even matter.
Looking to throw again on 2nd down. Brady over the middle, complete. That's Gonzalez. And he'll be brought down on the other side of midfield at the 43. But correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, you're down 2 scores. I don't think you need to rush just yet, but you can't take your time either.
Yeah, even if you don't want to commit to full 2-minute offense, you have to up the tempo, up the urgency. Maybe you're starting to call 2 plays in a huddle each time you snap the ball.
So on the other side of the field now, it's 1st and 10 as they've got things rolling on this drive. Again, it's Brady. And nowhere to fit that football in. It's knocked away and incomplete.
Well, he's smart enough to avoid the taunting rule, but I'm guaranteeing he quietly has told them, you might want to stop coming after me downfield because I just broke up another pass and took away a big shot that you were trying to succeed with.
To throw on 2nd and 10. Brady. That ball is caught. It's Andre Reed. And finally down he goes as they work it inside the 10 to the 7. It's a gain of 35.
He's been a one-man dynamo on this drive so far. You know the other receivers would love to get involved. But right now, his skill and his play has his team in a great position to put 6 points on the board.
Now a chance to make that big play really hurt. It's 1st and goal just outside the 5. Now Brady again. Touchdown! Tony Gonzalez. A 7-yard touchdown ground. And the AFC able to draw a bit closer. He was on point throwing the ball right there. He had the big play to get him down close, and then he delivers a touchdown pass on 1st and goal.
And you mentioned the big play that got him down close. I think that big play left him reeling a little bit. They didn't recover from it. And you know, they always talk about having to have a short memory on defense after a big play against you. Looks like their memory was a little too long there.
Now Adam Vinatieri for the point after. This is caught out in the right flank. And he's across for 2 points. Yeah, gutsy call right there, but the fake works. And they get the 2 instead of 1. Here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. And, oh, that's one he's going to want back. A poor kick. It heads straight out of bounds.
Free kick out of bounds.
So now the possession will begin at the 35 after the errant kickoff.
Well, that's certainly one way to avoid a dangerous kick returner, I suppose, but you are giving up extra yardage, that's for sure. Because if you put it out of the end zone, they start at the 25. So at a minimum, you're giving up 10 yards to the offense.
And they're going to get about 3 here out of this 1st down run, and that'll bring up 2nd and 7. So 2 minutes to play in the John Madden Legacy game. The NFC trying to finish this one off. We're back to Oakland after this. So it's the NFC with the football as we welcome you back. Have to imagine this will be on the ground as well as they come up 2nd and 7. run with Sanders. And he'll be taken down across the 50 at the 45 in enemy territory. 51 yards now on the ground on just 7 carries.
But they picked up a little bit of yardage there, and now, in this situation, should be in no hurry to run a play really fast. Let the clock wind down.
Not totally home free yet, but it's looking good as they come up 1st and 10. Here's Sanders. Looking for a seam, but finding none. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Junior Seau, the Hall of Famer, there on the tackle. We talk about defenders, specifically linebackers, keeping their eyes in the right spot. He had that eye down the entire time.
And you know that's not easily done because they throw a lot of misdirection at you. They try and fool you and get your eyes in the wrong place. But you're right about that one. He correctly figured that one out and made a really nice play.
Well, this has certainly been special. And, Charles, as we wind down toward the end of this John Madden legacy game, your final thoughts?
Well, let's face it, partner, it's going to be hard to overestimate the impact that he made, not just on the sport of football, but on his family, friends, players.
So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.